Welcome into this Five Clubs conversation. Windy day out here at Quail Hollow. Brendon de Jonge is going to join me in just a second. The guy who's going to be alongside is somebody who's been playing professional golf for more than 25 years. And he's somebody who butted heads with Tiger Woods in the U.S. Junior, not once, but twice. And he's still doing this. Whether it's the Korn Ferry Tour or the PGA Tour, Ryan Armour continues to play high-level professional golf. And earlier this year, he gave his thoughts about what appears to be the future of the construct of the PGA Tour as far as the tournaments and how many people are going to be in it. And he gave his opinion, and there was a lot of backlash. Does he have any regrets? We'll talk to him about that. And also the idea of playing well into his 50s. All of that coming up on this Five Clubs conversation.
I think this is only a grip.
It's only my sole connection to this.
It's only in my hands on every single shot.
It's an extra 2 yards of carry when it matters most.
Yeah, only a grip.
Mine are only golf pride.
Respect the grip.
Let's start with where this started. You guys remember the first time you played together?
Had to be a practice round.
Yeah, it was a practice round on, it might have been in
04,
Australia, maybe.
04,
Yeah.
Australia. Yeah, beginning of the year, we had just played Panama, and then had a couple weeks off, and then flew to Australia. And I think you and Johnson were playing, and I joined up.
It sounds
And
right.
I think that's how it happened. Like, you guys were waiting, and Johnson asked me to join up, and I think D-Bear, God rest his soul, he had like a meters book instead of a yards book or something, and I hit one over a green like 40 yards, and the friendship started from there because we all just made fun of each other the whole time.
Did you, it's funny, like, again, you're a little bit younger than him.
Yeah.
Were you aware of who he was? Did you know who he was? No.
Just became friends because we were
Yeah.
all trying to do the same thing, and
Yeah.
what worked out for all of us is our wives got along. So that allowed us to stay close.
Yep.
And it seems like if the wives get along, the players are going to get along.
Is there somebody who entered into your life after you turned professional that maybe he's still playing, maybe not, that was important early on for you? Advice, guidance?
I think we always lean on like guys we went to school with
Yeah.
or went to the same university. I think John Cook always,
Yep.
giving me words of wisdom, and I call him Brownieisms, who was my college golf coach. And, you get in contention, and the middle of the green never changes, so don't think you have to fire at every pin. And but the beauty of golf is you develop these friendships like Brennan and I had, or, the four of us used to play a lot of practice rounds together, Brant Snedeker and Johnson Wagner and Brennan and myself. And we competed so hard in practice rounds, it made us better when we got to Thursday.
You mentioned John Cook, and we've talked, here and there about Nick Price. I mean, Nick's one of the great players, gentlemen the game's ever known. Cookie, and I've talked to him about this at length, like, he was lucky. He had great mentorship himself. He had Ken Venturi,
Absolutely.
who was not only, somebody who was his eyes when it came to his golf swing. He was his sensei when it came to, here's what you do to be a professional golfer. Do you think enough of that exists now?
I think the young guys right now are so far ahead of where we were 15, 18 years ago that when they come out here, they're ready to go. I mean, when I was just coming out of college, there was no way I could play this golf course that we're playing this week here at Wells Fargo. And I think these young kids are coming out with the advancements in technology, in the TrackMan stuff and the quad stuff and the access to information. They're ready to go.
Yeah, everybody there's a consensus on that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. It also feels to me like these young guys wouldn't want to ask advice as much either, though. Like they.
Nah, I think some reach out when, like, where to stay, where to
Yeah.
eat, when should I travel there, that kind of stuff. I don't think they want anything to do with how to play the game. I think they're set. I mean, everyone's squeezing a 290-yard fade down the left side now, whereas back in the day we hit all kinds of shots, big hooks and squeeze fades, whatever. But now they're locked into what they need to do.
So among the guys who are, in your ballpark age-wise, are there guys who you would say, if you are going to talk to somebody, talk to him? Like, who are the guys out here?
Well, I mean, Tiger's my age.
Yeah.
So it's if you got a question about how to win or compete or ball flight, ask him. I mean, he's, if not the greatest,
Yep.
second greatest to
Yep.
ever play the game. I mean, so you got a question, ask him. I mean, he's forthcoming if you just go up and ask him.
You literally are the same age. Look, you were
Mm-hmm.
you were a prodigy as a junior. He was what he was, which was an alien. Do you remember how old you were when you became aware of him? Because look, there was enough information then, but it's not like the amount of information that's available now.
We didn't have anything but Golf Week and the USA Today back then. That's how we got all our information, and Golf World. So those three
Yeah.
things. And I remember the 91 Junior was at Bay Hill,
Yeah.
91 US Junior, and he won that year. And that was really the first time up close I saw him. And I was like, guy's pretty good. I'm like, I better get better. And then he waxed me the next year up in Boston in the quarters, and then I kept getting better, and then he got me in extra holes the next year in the finals. So that 91 US Junior is when it really came to life. He was 15, or we were 15. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember you've played with him professionally?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time you were paired with him in a professional event?
It was late. Aronimick in 18,
Okay.
I think.
The BMW.
Yeah, BMW, third round.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay,
then
that's-
what was really cool though, I mean, him and I always have been cordial to each other, and even when I wasn't playing so good professionally, and we'd see each other in Jupiter, our kids are relatively the same age. It was always great, and then we were paired together Saturday of Memorial one year, and I went to Ohio State, so that was kind of cool. Being there at Muirfield and having all the Buckeyes in my corner, and even Joey LaCava said, Tiger never gets out-ovated on the first hole. And when they announced me after Tiger, the ovation was way louder. So that was pretty cool.
That is awesome. You played with him, haven't you?
I did, yeah. I had the lead going into the final round of his tournament up in D.C.
Yeah.
And it was right after that storm went through and they didn't allow anybody in
Yep.
on Saturday. And then they honored all those tickets on Sunday. So we had double the gallery on Sunday. And the thing that I noticed with him was for the first 9 holes, he was very good about marking, letting me putt out first, and then he'd putt out because he knows everybody's going to run. As soon as we made the turn, I think he was then leading me by 1 or 2. He started tapping in and letting everybody just go. Yeah, he knew how to play that game. There was no
Absolutely.
doubt about it.
Yeah. As far as like his importance to the game, one thing that I think that I never thought would exist because he didn't need it, he always had everybody's adulation because you knew what the result was going to be. He was going to win, and you went out there and you had an appreciation for golf that was really unusual. Now he has an affection that is being projected toward him by people, like trying to drag him across the line, and we don't know how much he's going to play going forward. I don't think he ever anticipated that. And I actually think he's being, like it's affecting him in a good way, that maybe age has something to do with it, but I think it's more than that. Do you, I mean, again, he's not out here much.
Right.
I never thought people were going to love him because they needed to love him to help him win. You know what I mean? Like he was never going to need help. And now it's,
I think he's humanized now.
yeah.
I mean, injuries have taken its toll on his body, and he was superhuman for so long. What he was able to do in that stretch, especially 2000 to 2008. I mean, we may never see an 8 years of golf like that again. I mean, not, we may, but unlikely. And I think with everything he went through, family-wise, and then now injury-wise, I think it humanized him to the general public. So now they're in his corner. They're not just in awe of him.
I agree. I think he was forced to mellow. He really was with all the injuries and everything he had to go through. He kind of had to mellow, and I mean, you don't want to say become a little bit of a sympathetic figure, but I mean, geez, you watch him walking around there now, and he is.
No, I think that's the truth. I mean, I think that look, it's not pity. Sympathy is a very different thing from having pity for somebody. His importance to the tour, how important is he still while not really playing the tour? How is that?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. He's the only needle. He is the needle.
He's the needle.
Yeah, and you turn on Golf Channel anytime, and they're running reruns of him winning. They're not running reruns of when I won. They're running reruns of when he won, for good reason. But I've always said this, and I say it to the 20-somethings now. I'm like, you probably should send him a Christmas card every year because he's the reason you're playing for this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I never had any delusions about why people were watching the 10 years that I was doing Morning Drive, but the highest rated quarter hour in the history of that show, and we had great guests, it was a nice run, was 15 minutes of him hitting balls on the range at Oak Hill with the glove tucked under his arm at the PGA the year Duffner won.
Okay.
And so we always met regularly with our research department, and they would show us, like, that was a good hour, like, you need to do more of that stuff. No, I'll tell you what we need. We need more of him live hitting golf balls in the morning, which was rare, highest rated quarter hour. Him hitting range balls at Oak Hill.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Was that humbling?
Not necessarily. No, I'll tell you what it was. It was ammo for me, for everybody who would tweet or email or whatever saying, enough of Tiger. No, there's never enough.
There isn't.
Yeah.
There isn't enough. The appetite is insatiable. It will never go away.
Yeah.
It'll never go away. How about what's going on now? Because you put yourself out there.
I did.
Talking about,
Yeah.
do you have any regret about sharing your opinion about the future?
I don't.
You don't?
I don't, because so after that came out, I've never gotten more hugs in the locker room than I got after that came out. I mean, my job or I wouldn't even say job.
Your responsibility.
My responsibility of being a PAC member, I was voted on by my peers. And I'm not supposed to speak up for the superstars of the sport. I'm supposed to speak up for the entire membership. And that's what I was doing. So we all know our place in the game. Everyone does. But let's just say the number 5th ranked player on the PGA Tour and the number 55th player on the PGA Tour, why should their schedules be so vastly different than what they are going to become next year? I mean, there is a big discrepancy between 5 and 55, but there isn't between 49 and 55.
Yeah.
So that to me is where it kind of irked everybody, and that's what I was getting from my peers, the information and the backlash. Hey, what's going on? Why are we doing this? And Dave from Golf Digest, we've known each other a long time, and he caught me on the putting green at Sawgrass before the Players, and we just had an honest conversation back and forth, and some stuff came out a little. I mean, he never misquoted me at all. I don't think I really wanted to say the word mules, but it just came out that way. Mm-hmm. You'll see it tomorrow. Everyone's out there playing a Pro-Am, and everyone's doing that, and the whole tour has to be around to do those 9-9 Pro-Ams, not just 68 players. So I just think the on-site experience for, especially the Wednesday, just goes down. And I voiced my opinion about it, and my opinion wasn't the only one that way.
Right.
There was a lot of them.
I'm sure there were.
Now I want nothing but success to come out of what we're doing.
Yep.
But I also have to stick up for player 51 through 249 as well as those guys that are inside that top 50.
Do you think, and I have, I like Peter Malnati a lot. His position being altered the way that it was, like he was, I don't know who talked to him, but one of the things he said about why he supported this idea of the number of what it was going to be as far as the designated events was the idea that if guys, if there were more, they would be less inclined to play the non-designated events. And I'm like, first of all, that presumption is that you're playing great and that you wouldn't need any of these other events. And I just thought it was counterintuitive. Look, I've talked to a lot of players. I just think 70 is too small. It's not reflective of how many guys can win at all.
And I agree with you. I think for some reason, for the last year and a half, the PGA Tour was on this, we have to have cuts, we have to do this, to withhold the traditions of the game. There was always a cut in golf. Well, now you're moving away from that. And I don't like missing cuts, no one does. And I missed half of them in my career. It's no fun going home early. But they just took that aspect away of, and I don't know how it affects the DFS stuff and all that.
Right.
But, the on-site experience, I remember this. So I grew up in Akron, Ohio.
Yep.
And that's where the World Series of Golf was at Firestone. Small field event. But what they did great about the small field event there was they ran tee times all day. So they ran them all off number one and ran them all day. So the on-site experience for the people there, they had golf all day. Now we're going to these tight TV windows that they want everyone on the golf course so they can show what's going on. And so you're teeing off between 11:30 and 1:30. So your on-site experience is down to, 5 hours?
Yeah.
5.5 hours? Where if you're a kid, you could be out there all day learning and having fun. And I just, that was my big beef, the on-site experience went away.
Yeah, how many World Golf Championships did you play in?
I didn't play many. I'd say maybe 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What atmosphere? What were they?
It is a good atmosphere because you know that you've obviously done something to get there.
Sure.
It is a good atmosphere. I don't think that it's something that needs to happen all the time, though. I really don't. I feel like it needs to be maybe 1 or 2 events a year, and that's it.
Yeah, the thing about the World Golf Championship Series, like you're talking about Akron, I remember being there in 2010, and this was when Tiger was going through like profound thought changes and swing changes. Right. He was getting ready to embark on the Foley project, and there was no cut, and he shot a zillion. Okay. Hunter Mahan won that week, and he beat Tiger by like 40. And I'm thinking to myself, the last place in the world he wants to be right now
is on the golf.
Is on that first tee on a Saturday, starting the day 22 shots behind the guy, and they've only played 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. Like that's the other part of it is, and we, again, that when you don't play well, I felt like the World Golf Championship Series, and you can say, well, that's not what this is. There's a lot of elements to it that are very similar. And I thought it was like a speakeasy where all the best players showed up and somebody was handing you chips. Like it was a closed society. Like you're going to go here, you're going to have all these world ranking points, we're going to give you money for showing up, and all you guys should get paid, I think, no matter whether you make the cut or not. But there should be something associated with not playing well enough for 2 days. That's part of your job.
Right. I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Times are changing. That's what we've been told in all these player meetings. And, the PGA Tour mission statement or whatever used to be, we're going to give a buttload to charity to, every community that we're in, and we're going to provide playing opportunities for our membership. Now, that number 2 bullet point is kind of gone away.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was there sticking up, like I said, for the majority of the membership that wants playing
and that got
opportunities.
preached every player meeting.
Right.
We are going to do everything we can to provide as many opportunities for the players. That was always probably the top talking point at every single one of those meetings, and now it's going away.
Do you support the PGA Tour U thing, like the idea of green lighting of a really super productive college player to some exempt status, whether it be Korn Ferry Tour or PGA Tour?
I love the Korn Ferry Tour aspect. but I'm old school. I had to go through the Q school. I had to go through the, the Korn Ferry Tour. Too many times to count. But times are changing, and the way it was explained to me, this is to combat something that is happening in the golf world.
No doubt.
And we need to guarantee access to the elite of the elite early in their career, or we're going to lose them. So that argument, if you keep it at one guy, I'm fine. But if you start getting to 5, 10, then it gets a little too watered down.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I don't know your thoughts on this. Like, college golf is not supposed to be a feeder system to the PGA Tour, but there's so many guys now. You already said it. Like, they're so ready now.
Mm-hmm.
You look at college football. You look at college basketball. It's really, it used to be unpaid labor. Now guys can get NIL money, and they're lottery picks, and there are first-round draft choices in the NFL. With the existential threat of live hanging out
Right.
there, to ensure these almost surefire like assets, which are these great college players, I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
Yes, and that's where I went. They convinced me about that.
Yeah.
I was way against it to begin with. But, some of the things that they're able to do now with the PGA Tour U that we were never able to do, like, let's go back to when we played the Korn Ferry Tour, okay? Say you qualified for the U.S. Open, and you had to miss, let's just say, Wichita on the Korn Ferry Tour, or wherever we were playing that week. They wouldn't take the points that we earned at the U.S. Open and move them over to the Korn Ferry Tour. Now, all of a sudden, out of thin air, they're figuring out a way to move points.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're only doing this because you want your PGA Tour U to be so successful. So I was like, well, where was this 15 years ago when everyone else was complaining about it?
Right. Right. Combined PGA Tour and Korn Ferry Tour, I believe you're sitting at 494 starts.
Yeah.
So you're going to get to 500
Mm-hmm.
here, very soon.
Right.
What is the most modest? I know as a Korn Ferry Tour experience, like the whole thing, like the condition of the golf course, just all of it. What was like?
The
God,
humbling
this is,
experience? Is that
Yes.
what you're asking?
Yes.
Too many to count, but it had to be, 2012-13. I played so poorly. I was trying to get bigger, stronger, faster, and everything that went into that season. Like, I had a second place finish that year and finished like 105th on the money list. I mean, it's almost impossible. I think I made like 4 of 22 cuts or something. And I just, tucked my tail between my legs, went back home, and asked my wife, should I quit? And she's just like, nah, you put too much time in. And she gave me a year, and I played mini tours. I had status still, but I knew I wasn't getting in, and my kids were little. I'm like, I'm going to stay home. I'm going to play around here. And then I went back to the school, and I mean, it was humbling to go back after you've had success. And
How many times did you think to yourself, before you finally said, I'm done, did you say you were done? How many times did you tell whether you audibly said it or not?
Too many to count,
Really?
honestly. Yeah. Gary, I was to the point where I was hating it. I really was. And even when I was playing a full year out here, I was hating it. Like, every week I'd show up and be like, this is the last place I want to be. And I mean, it's impossible to have any success like that. So yeah, I mean, probably too many times to count.
Yeah. Look, I'm. This is not about being morbid. Athletic mortality is very interesting to me because it's all you've ever known. You've wanted to do it since you were young. You've been doing it, but then when like you're 47,
right.
and a lot of people are hitting like their professional prime, like right now in their lives, whatever it is that they're doing or wanted to do, and they're doing it right now. And for you, it's absolutely on the back end of
Yes.
whatever that prime was.
Mm-hmm.
What's the hardest part about knowing that I can't be as good as I once was? And you may have friends doing other things, like this buddy who's
Yeah.
he's flying in his profession,
Absolutely.
I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
Mm-hmm.
Is that hard?
Yes, but no, because I'm trying to get better every day still. And like today, I was here at, we left the house at 6:30, and I got done practicing at 3:45 to come over here and do this interview with you. And that's the only way I know how to get better. I'm going to put the time in. I'm going to see my instructor. I'm going to get my rest, hydrate, and all that stuff. And every year I'm learning more and more and more. So the problem I'm running into, though, is my body doesn't recover as quickly. This is really, the last year and a half is the first time I've ever had some injury issues. And that's what creeps into the back of my head. Like, is your body going to hold up?
When you say you're learning more and more, are you learning more and more about how to be effective as a golfer, or are you learning more about yourself, like what you're capable of and your thinking and your processing?
Not
of
the
things?
capabilities, because I don't have that many. For me, I don't have any. But I'm learning more about, like, okay, why did I hit this shot? Why did this happen? Whereas it used to just be raw ability. Now I'm learning, like, face to path and all this stuff that my instructor's teaching me. And so it's been difficult to take it from range to course this year, but we're still working.
Do you like work more now than you did 10 years ago?
I love to compete. Competition is what drives me. I love to chip and putt. Anything that takes the wear and tear off my body, the little stuff, like short game. But sitting on the range like I did this afternoon, I don't love that.
Okay. What are the ways that you compete while practicing? Do you have games? Is it internal? Is it stuff that you're talking about externally with the people you work with?
Yeah, so like typical game, we'll just, my caddy and I, we'll just have birdie bogey game. Par's a wash, birdies for me, bogeys for him. And it's to keep our interest, make you make the 6-footer for par, things like that. Other guys, I was playing with Ryan Palmer today, he's got to make 85 feet of putts through 9 holes. So his caddy drops him down. If he doesn't make 85 feet of putts, he owes his caddy X amount of dollars. If he does, the caddy owes him money. And I thought that was really, I'd never heard that one. That was really interesting.
I like that.
To me.
I like that. Who was the most competitive guy that you played some golf with?
Him? Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so envious that he could be that competitive from Monday morning till Sunday evening.
Are you competitive at everything else in your life? Are you competitive with whether it's debating or other athletic activities with your family? Are you that way?
I didn't know anything else. I've had to, claw and scratch all the time. I mean, I'm 5'9", 170 pounds. Wasn't blessed with everything. Somehow I played high school basketball. I don't know. And it was just, I hated to lose. So I would just outwork them or figure out a way to play defense, something. I mean,
it made for some entertaining practice.
Were you chippy as a high school basketball player? Were you?
Yeah, a little mouthy. I would say that.
Yeah.
Anything to get under someone's skin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you look at the younger guys now, one thing to have skill, and obviously there's a tremendous amount of talent out here. Who's somebody whose competitiveness you appreciate? Give me a couple guys that you go, all right, they will dig in. Who are they?
Oh, wow. That's tough. The young guys, I'm trying to think here. They're all so young now.
They don't have to be 25. I mean,
no.
They could be the Spieth Thomas vintage.
Right. I'm going to give Justin some credit here. I think he's got that fire where he just constantly, he hates to lose. He's not out there to make money. He's out there to beat everyone's butt, which I think is a great quality to have. And not to mention he's blessed with an enormous amount of talent, so that helps. But it's been I don't know, I haven't been in contention in a while, so it'd be tough to, all of us compete. I mean, you wouldn't be at this level if you didn't have it in you.
I assume you were a Jack guy growing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. At 47 though, okay, so in 86, do you remember watching?
That was one of the first, so I was 10 years old. That was one of the first golf memories I ever have. What is like, so we had a basketball hoop in our driveway, and it was Sunday, and it was a nice day out in Ohio, which is unusual in April. So I was outside shooting, and my dad would be like, "You better get in here and watch this." So I come in and I watch some, and then I go out and shoot, and then I come back in and watch some, and I watched the whole back nine. I was like riveted. I'm like, this is unbelievable. And I'm like, Dad, he looks really old. And now he's a year younger than me
Yes.
at the time. So, but that is the first like vivid golf television memory I have.
Yeah. See, I'm so glad to hear you say that, like, you truly in real time experienced it. You didn't.
No, I didn't. My first memory was watching.
You were what, 5 years old?
Was watching Scott Hope miss that short putt at the Masters.
That was 89.
89. Yep,
Okay.
that was I have a distinct memory of that.
Were
for
you
some
were you
reason.
rooting for Scott Hoke?
No, I was actually rooting for Faldo, and
That-
then
okay,
I got to
that's-
know him a little bit.
Did you have empathy for Scott Hoke missing that putt? I mean, did you have like context as some? Were you playing golf at that time?
Yeah, I was 9 at that time. I was playing
Okay.
a little bit. I don't know. As a 9-year-old, I don't know how much empathy you've got. You're just like,
No,
oh,
you
what a
don't have
terrible
any.
putt!
You
Like,
don't
how
have
could you
any.
miss that?
No, you can feel sorry for a guy.
Yeah.
So after '86, did '86 ignite something in you about golf? Was that a trigger point in any way?
A little bit. A little bit. It just became the summer thing to do. And so, early in the morning you'd go to swim team or you'd caddy. And then in the afternoon you were able to hit balls and play, because they had time restrictions back then on juniors when they were allowed on the range and on the course. And so come 2 o'clock, it was free game, and you're out there all day until dark. And it was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. Relationship with Jack. I know playing in the event and all that is
Yeah.
from the first time had to be very significant for you.
It was.
Have you had time with him that has been like valuable time in terms of direction or advice?
So, not really, and it's partly my fault. But when I was in college, he was designing a gazillion golf courses.
Yes.
And he was still playing the Champions Tour.
Yeah.
So he was busy all the time. Once in a while we'd be out at Muirfield. You'd see his helicopter coming in, and he'd land over there, and he'd come out and say hi. But he couldn't spend any time with the program. I mean, he was all over the world designing stuff. And I've actually gotten to know him better through some of his charity stuff that him and his wife do. The Queen. I mean, she's amazing.
Yes, she is.
Everything she touches turns to gold. I mean, and whether it's the Jake or some of the stuff up in Columbus, just through them and being able to talk to them has been really special.
Now, Gary, who was, now again, you're too young to remember this. Gary was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16, which would have made you, what, 11? 11 years
He's
old.
5 years older than me.
Yeah. Do you have any relationship with him at all?
We run into each other in Jupiter.
Okay.
Other than that,
Yeah.
not really.
Do you remember when he was on their cover of
No.
Sports Illustrated? I do, because I'm 5 years older than him, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Gary Nicholas is on the cover of Sports Illustrated. I got to ask you, since you mentioned Akron, are you a LeBron guy?
So funny, my brother went to the same high school.
Okay.
And when I saw him play in high school, I saw him about 10 times in high school.
Did you really?
I was like, oh my Lord, this guy's amazing. And I was a LeBron guy for a while, but then he went to the Lakers, so.
Okay, so but you're interesting because you're like the tweener between the young people who are absolute LeBron guys, and I'm in the over 50 set who are Michael people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, are you a LeBron guy like over Michael?
No, Michael's better.
Okay, thank you.
No,
Okay, we
Michael's
can
better.
move on to the next subject.
And you want to talk about competitors? There's no one that competes like that guy.
Now, have you played some golf with him?
No, he's been in the group behind me and in the group in front of me, but I've never been in the same
Okay,
group.
have you ever
Thank
played with
God,
Michael?
because I don't
No.
carry enough cash.
Yeah, I know.
So
When I was working at a club in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and it was the Governor's Club, and it just opened. The morning after they won their first title in 1991, the shop phone rang, and it was him. And I'm 23 years old, and he says, and Gary Golf Shop, Gary, it's Michael Jordan. I'm coming down there tomorrow. Can we get off at 7 a.m.? And I'm like, okay, that's not my decision. So anyway, the point is he comes down there with the gangsome of people. They each have their own carts.
Yep.
So he's been doing this forever. This is not a new thing of him, going out there with 8 guys. And he was insisting on playing the back tees on a golf course in 1991 that was like 72 and change. That was a truckload back then. And I remember walking out onto the first tee, smart-ass kid, and I said, are you going to break 80 this time? Like, he had already played twice. And he said, how much money do you have? And I should have said, I'll bet you my check to yours, you're not breaking 80, but I didn't have the guts to say it. He's not scared. Like, he'll play anybody for any amount. Yeah. We were talking to Lucas Glover about this when we were chatting with him. He's younger than you, about the idea of being fully exempt until he's 50. And he's like, I never really thought about it. You've thought about it, haven't you?
It just I just had dinner with Kevin Stadler, and he talked about his dad. So when his dad was 30, he won the World Series of Golf. They got him a 10-year exemption till age 40. When he was 40, he won the World Series of Golf again.
Is that right?
And they got him exempt till 50. And
wow.
I was just like, oh my God, that'd be so awesome. You
Yeah.
just roll right in.
Yes. Yeah. So with that knowledge, and those 10-year exemptions,
They're gone.
They're gone. They're gone. Like when the players gave that was like such an outlier exemption. I didn't realize that the World Golf that those like World Series of Golf events also gave 10 years. If you are exempt till 50, do you have the intent of playing every week on PGA Tour Champions?
No.
You do not.
No, I intend playing out here if I'm
Okay.
exempt.
Okay. So let me rephrase the question.
Yeah.
If you're fully exempt till 49 and you're not fully exempt when you turn 50, will you play PGA Tour Champions every week?
If I'm able to.
Okay.
I mean, there's no way I'm exempt on the PGA Tour Champions right now.
No, it's the most
It's
difficult
the hardest,
shop in the world
it's
to
the
get
hardest
into.
fraternity in the world.
Yeah.
So
But you want to play
I'm
competitive
going to
golf.
play until I can't compete anymore. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
That is
it's
so
just,
unfamiliar to you.
Yes, it couldn't be further from the truth. I was trying to figure out how I could get out quicker the better.
Do you appreciate that he loves it so much?
Yeah, I was always very, very envious of him. Johnson's the same way. Absolutely. You could tell they're so excited every week. Love playing golf, love preparing, love everything that goes into it. I was envious a lot of the time.
But let me say this about Johnson Wagner. So I played with him recently, and he was hitting some hellacious foul balls off the tee. And he gestured like he was going to snap his shaft in half. And he said, God, I hate fucking golf right now. And I said, no, you don't. Don't say stuff that is totally untrue. Because I know he loves it.
Yeah.
Like the idea that he wouldn't play golf.
He hates the way he's playing golf.
Exactly.
Right now. Yeah.
Exactly.
I hate the way I'm playing golf right now.
Okay.
so.
Okay. Who loves golf as much as anybody who plays professionally? Like who genuinely loves it?
Hovland.
He loves it.
I
he
think
has
he does.
he has an effervescence about
I
him.
think
that,
he does.
Yeah.
I think he loves it.
He doesn't appear cynical at all.
Sanjay
he loves
M.
it.
He hasn't got beat up either, though.
No, he hasn't.
No
Sanjay
no
M?
scar tissue.
Does
he
San-
doesn't have scar tissue either.
No, he
so-
doesn't.
He's played good every week.
Okay,
Yeah.
give me somebody over 40 who you think still loves it, like to the degree that they could, which is admirable.
Stewie Sink.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. I think now that his wife is fully healthy and he's got that behind him, and his boys are older and working now and they have careers, and I think now he's back into like, I'm in love with the game.
Okay. It's not because I think he does, but I'm not sure. How about Kuchar? Does Kuchar love golf? Now, I think he's a sneaky, hyper-competitive, chippy, ruthless guy.
Oh, he is.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, I think he does. I think he loves beating people his way. Does that make sense? Like,
Oh, yeah,
I'll
yeah.
show you. You got this perfect everything. I'm gonna come over the top and then I'm gonna punch you to death. So I think he loves beating people
Yeah.
his way.
Streelman, does Streelman have an affection for golf? Or is he a businessman? Is it more...
That's funny, Dookie. I don't know. Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, do you set goals? Do you write stuff down? Do you quantify what you want to do over the course of a season?
Yeah, but then like 6 weeks in, it's usually ripped up and thrown away, and you got to rewrite them because you're either playing really good or you're playing really bad, and you got to figure it out.
So okay, so what's the most recent iteration of what your goals are for this year, or what?
So at the top is always win. It's always, no matter, every time you write them down, it's win. And then for me, this year was to improve my proximity. That one of the high ones was improve proximity with 6-iron and above, because I seem to be having more and more of them as we lengthen every golf course out here.
Yep.
So if I can get that proximity from whatever it was, 38 feet from 190 yards and out to 28 feet, the likelihood of making one and less 3-putts goes way up.
You mentioned about yardage. I wasn't thinking about asking this. Are you pro or anti-rollback?
I want the rollback, actually.
You do?
Yeah.
Why?
I think it would be interesting because people have never played a spinny golf ball. I want to see people, how they can control it. Can they flight it down? Can they hit a draw when they have to hit a draw instead of always hitting this squeeze fade that they've hit over and over and over again because that's the way equipment wants you to hit it.
If let's say the rollback is instituted this season,
Yeah.
who would adapt the quickest and who would benefit the most? Give me a player that just in your mind you would think, okay, they'll adapt to this.
I would say Patrick Cantlay would be someone that would jump straight into my mind that would adapt.
Interesting.
Because I think he's going to work his butt
He'll
off
figure
and he's
it
going
out.
to figure it out. Yeah.
But you brought up Kuchar.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Kuchar played a spinny ball, grew up with a spinny
Yeah.
ball. I think he would figure it out right away.
I'll tell you somebody, you mentioned his name. See, I think Justin Thomas would figure it out because I think he has an artistry about the way he plays, and he likes to shape stuff and he likes to visualize things that are maybe a little bit non-conforming. I think he would figure it
He'd
out.
figure it out, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Most guys will figure it out.
Yeah, but
it's just some
I mean,
will figure it out quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, my position on all of it is that I understand, like we all care about what affects us. And I understand why immediately you go, hold on a second, things are great right now. I look at this and go, this is as much about 50 years from now as it is about 2026 when they institute it. And it's only for you guys. It's only for the guys who play the game in a way that we're totally unfamiliar with.
I don't understand why there's this big uproar about the ball. I
Yeah.
mean, you play a different ball than this guy. I don't understand.
Yeah.
Because in baseball, you have wooden bats in the major leagues and you have metal everywhere else. I mean, it happens in all the other sports. You have a bigger basketball as you age. I mean, it's fine.
I thought he brings up a great point there that everything is geared now towards a cut. So these guys have never played a golf ball that's going to spin straight up into the breeze when you're hitting that cut. So you're going to start seeing guys that are going to change their golf swings purely because the golf ball's changed.
Right.
I think it makes a great point.
All right, let's get you out of here with these 5 quick questions. Do you consume podcasts at all? Do you watch or listen to?
Yeah.
Okay, so give me your podcast of choice right now is what?
Oh, God, I'm going to show my age. Well, I listen to a lot of Buckeye football stuff, Buckeye football talk, so that's not too bad. And the NFL draft just happened, so I had a bunch of those downloaded, like the draft reactions. I've kind of been getting into Clay Travis. I kind of like a lot of his takes. Trying to think what else.
Is there a Buckeye football voice, somebody who covers the game, somebody who played there, who you particularly appreciate?
I love Paul Keels. He's the radio announcer. He's amazing.
Okay.
He does football and basketball.
Yeah.
Just so distinctive a voice. But he doesn't have a podcast, so.
Okay.
These are all writers, with whatever, the Columbus Dispatch, or
Yeah.
they go and break it down. And
Yeah.
so.
All right. Who on tour right now would run the fastest mile?
Oh boy. Not me, because I haven't ran in a while. Jeez, that's tough. I'm going Tony Finau. Long legs.
Yeah. I mean, you know who I have in my mind? Aaron Rye. I don't know why. Like, he seems like he would be like a super efficient runner, and then he would figure out a way. Like, look, I like him. He seems like a wonderful
great
guy.
guy.
He's a great guy, but I think he would run a good mile.
Camilo would still be pretty good when
Yeah,
he's
he
gonna
would,
be in
but I
good
mean, he's
shape.
more of a cyclist. I don't know that I would. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is a job you would be good at?
Stay-at-home dad.
That's not. I understand that. No, I mean a real, like, not that, again, people who stay home and care for kids, that's work. I get it. No, something where you have to go and give me a job. Give me
High school basketball coach.
Have you ever volunteered? Have you ever coached?
I try and help when I'm at home, but you can't commit to a full season because you're never there.
Right.
So you can't say, hey, I'm like, coach, I'll help you out at practice, stuff like that. But
Yeah. Celebrity crush growing up?
Wow. I can't remember.
Oh, come on. We
Alyssa
all
Milano.
remember. Alyssa Milano. Excellent call.
Who's the
good.
boss?
You're familiar with her work.
I
are you
am.
not?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, very
Definitely.
good. All right, last thing. What's your favorite word?
That's not eligible.
Oh, yes, it is. I mean, this is not network television.
Lately, with the way I've been playing, there's been some F-bombs dropped a lot of times.
It is the most useful. It has more versatility than any word
Absolutely.
in the world.
Yeah. It enhances everything.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does. It's good to see you. Thank you for coming by
thanks,
and doing
Gary.
this.
Donger.
Thank you very much, Armour.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Good luck, guys.
Really appreciate Ryan Armour taking the time to join us out here at a windy Quail Hollow. You know who else we need to thank? The Connors. Thank you for allowing us to be at this just wonderful home with a lot of warmth. Even though it's chilly outside, the warmth is from you people because you're great. And we also thank all of you out there for watching and listening to this Five Clubs conversation.